Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the stream, and welcome back, Kitchener. It's been a while since you've been here. Good morning, Slim Daddy Bim, Silver, Zach Taylor, and everybody else who's watching. So we have some interesting stuff to talk about. There is some big news in the markets, some big news for everyone in the United States, and we've also got, unfortunately, a couple of stocks that are falling lately. So let's start off just very briefly taking a look at the charts. You'll see that the SPY has not been doing too good over the past 24 hours. In fact, we're down about $12 on the SPY. If you look from the highs of the morning yesterday, 472, we're down to 460 now. So about 2.67% on the SPY. And a lot of stocks are following suit, like, like Sundial and DWAC and AMC, unfortunately. A lot of stocks have been moving down. We'll pull up DWAC right here. It's unfortunately also down, right? It made its highs around the time that the S&P was making its highs, and now we're down below $70. So 70 couldn't hold us when the S&P was red, unfortunately, on a lot of these stocks. And BBIG, who knows how good that one's going to do. It did pretty good yesterday. It ended up pumping up about 30% again yesterday. But now it's been trending down in the pre-market. Maybe the market's catching up with it. Maybe the hype has reached its peak. We'll see what happens with BBIG. But we do have some interesting news to discuss today. And where did it go? It was all right here. So, okay. I'll pull this over to the side real quick. So the first thing, pretty interesting story. A lot of people have probably heard of this already. It happened yesterday. But some people may not have. The Supreme Court blocks Biden's COVID vaccine mandate for businesses and allows the healthcare worker rule. So essentially, if you guys weren't aware of what was going on, basically, Biden had put in place a mandate that required workers at businesses with 100 or more employees to get vaccinated or submit a negative COVID test weekly to enter the workplace. And it also required unvaccinated workers to wear masks indoors. And the Supreme Court said, although Congress has indisputably given OSHA the power to regulate occupational dangers, it has not given that agency the power to regulate public health more broadly. And they continued to say requiring the vaccination of 84 million Americans selected simply because they work for employers with more than 100 employees certainly falls in the latter category. So basically, that's just the Supreme Court saying that this isn't allowed by the Constitution or whatnot. And that the government can't require that OSHA mandate workers to be vaccinated at these big businesses. But it is notable they specified that businesses can still require it if they wish. So there is a stipulation there. And then they did allow it to happen at medical facilities, right? So medical facilities that take Medicare or Medicaid payments, the mandate still stands for. So overall, this could be potentially beneficial for employment numbers, right? I think that there have been some instances of me hearing, at least with some businesses, with some industries, people did not want to comply with that rule, and potentially some people were just going to stop going to work. They were going to quit. Who knows what was going to happen if there were those mandates in place? So it could be beneficial for employment numbers, but we'll see what kind of an effect it has. So. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Autocodes, Ape Father, Worlds, Sub-Zero, Left Field Lounger, Rich M. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. We've got some interesting stuff today. We're going to start off, unfortunately, on something a little scary. Unfortunately, Russia and the United States have not been having a good time with each other lately, right? And Russia has just said that they're not going to rule out Latin American deployment after these unsuccessful talks that they've just had. So basically, Russia, it's constantly kind of poking at the Ukraine. It really wants control of the Ukraine. And basically, Russia has had a buildup of troops lately near Ukraine. And the United States and NATO didn't like this. So there have been some talks about it. And unfortunately, the talks have not been going so well. It seems like there are some differences in ideology between Russia and NATO and the United States that maybe can't be come to an agreement over. With just talks. So it looks like Russia might be putting some troops in Latin America just to get closer to the United States, just in case something bad happens. So, that's not the best thing to hear. Obviously, we don't want foreign countries putting troops right near the U.S. border, but that looks like it's a possibility, right? They haven't ruled it out, at least. They haven't necessarily said that that's exactly what they're going to do, but we'll see what happens. We'll probably continue having talks with Russia. We're probably not just going to go to war with them, is my expectation. I don't think that anyone really wants that, but it is a possibility to look for in the future. Obviously, that wouldn't be good for the stock market. A war is pretty much never good. When you hear about a war, that very rarely, I would assume, causes stock prices to go up. It probably causes stock prices to go down. So we don't want that. But overall, it seems like the possibility of an actual war is pretty slim. I think that it gets to this point sometimes. I've heard about this kind of stuff in the past with Russia and the Ukraine, and it tends to not be the biggest deal. So I'm overall not the most worried about it, but it is a somewhat scary story. But we do have a less scary story to talk about, something very interesting, something lighthearted, something nice, something fun. And that is that Dogecoin jumps 9% after Elon Musk says it can be used to buy Tesla merchandise. And we're going to take a look at some of that merchandise in a second because it looks pretty darn cool. But Dogecoin, notably, is up quite a bit. And look at this, Elon Musk, thank you very much for spiking the price of Dogecoin. He did put out a tweet that we can pull up right here. Tesla merch, buyable with Dogecoin, and we're definitely going to check it out. This tweet came out actually this morning at 1:18 a.m. I didn't catch it live, I was asleep. But it is cool to see that you can actually use Doge in the real world, and for pretty cool stuff too. I will pull up the website right here. So we've got the Tesla website, the Tesla merch side of things, at least right here, and it looks like you can buy this Tesla Giga Texas belt buckle. So Tesla has a big factory in Texas, and you can buy this belt buckle for 835 Doge right there. So, and if you don't know what Doge is and you go to the Tesla website, you can click this little informational panel. It says Dogecoin is a cryptocurrency that can be used to purchase this item. The Doge price includes shipping and taxes. So look at that. This is one of the better instances of Doge being implemented. Not only can you use Doge to pay for it, but they list the price in Doge, and they're actually trying to pin a value to Doge, right? They're not just, they're not just saying it's $20 and you can pay in Doge. They're actually saying this thing costs 835 Dogecoin. We don't care, how many you get or if, the price of Doge goes down. They're just taking Dogecoin for this belt buckle. So cool stuff. And also, I noticed there were a couple of other items on the shop that looked even cooler than the belt buckle. Let's see if we can get back to them. Where did they go? Here we go. So there were a couple of other items. This one, the wireless portable charger, unfortunately, is still in dollars. I noticed $70 for this one, and it is out of stock. It looks pretty popular. But this little cyber whistle, so it looks like a whistle in the shape of a Cybertruck. You can actually buy this for 300 Doge. So fairly affordable. It's out of stock, obviously. A lot of people wanted this whistle. I might even get this whistle. I mean, it's pretty cool. 300 Doge. Let's see how much that is at the current price. I think Dogecoin, it's at around 20 cents right now. So 300 times 20 cents. And then divided by 100. So it's $60. $60 for this whistle. Okay. So not bad, but definitely not great. It's a little expensive, actually. Maybe I won't be getting the whistle. But what I would really like is this, the Cyber Quad for kids, it says, but I would use it too. Look at this thing. This is really cool. It goes for 12,020 Doge. So I did the math on that. I think it's about $2,000. But look at this thing. I mean, you could take this anywhere. Look at this. You just drive this around. It looks like an ATV, kind of designed after the Cybertruck. I mean, the Cyber Quad. Look at that. Probably has a great battery life. It just looks awesome. And I want one. So, if anyone wants to send me a gift, consider this, because this seems super cool. I would definitely use that as my daily driver if it was sent to me. So I will pull up the price of Dogecoin real quick. We can take a peek at that. It looks like this definitely did have a beneficial impact on the price, right? We're up about 12% over the past 24 hours and 25% over the past 7 days. So if you look at the Dogecoin chart, it seems like we were already on an uptrend over the past 7 days, and this only added fuel to the fire. In fact, Elon Musk's tweet came out right here. So it really didn't have the biggest impact on Doge price. In fact, we're pretty darn close now to where we were when he tweeted this out. It looks like Dogecoin was already on the run-up. Maybe they put these listings up and people noticed beforehand or whatnot, but the tweet came out at 118. We saw. We can pull it up again. It came out at 118 this morning, and it looks like at 118 we did actually see this little spike right here. So overall, it certainly had a beneficial impact on the price, and people are happy to see it. Now that's the story that can circulate, and people can talk about Dogecoin being accepted at Tesla and Elon Musk tweeting about it and that raising the price. That's a good narrative, but it looks like Dogecoin was already on the run-up at that time, as a lot of cryptos have been ever since we've gotten some inflation data coming out. So, so overall, Dogecoin seems like a good one. I believe this means now that I'm up on my Dogecoin investment. So that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I'm happy to see it moving back up on this news. Now, guys, I will point out, is that a Doge whistle, asks Zach Taylor? It is a Doge whistle. Now, I will point out, we've got about 56 viewers in the stream, about 12 likes. It definitely helps out if you guys can just slap that like button as soon as you get in the stream. It would be much appreciated. It does help get the stream out to a couple more people. Now we have 62 viewers and about 13 likes. So if we could get it up to 20, maybe 25 or 30, that would be much appreciated, especially as we cover this next story, because this next story is not the kind of thing you want to hear. But retail sales have dropped 1.9% in December as higher prices caused consumers to curb spending. So overall, not as scary as the Russia story, but not the best story to hear, especially considering the fact that we were expecting retail sales to fall by about 0.1%, and they actually fell 19 times that. So they were the fall in retail sales was 19 times greater than what we were forecasting. So that's a little scary, right? Now, obviously, if you actually look at this chart, it's not the scariest chart to see, right? It's not a huge plummeting in retail sales. It's not ideal, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And if you zoom out, you can see every now and then we do have falls in retail sales. But it's notable that this is coming during a month when we had pretty significant inflation, and at the end of a year when we've had pretty significant inflation as well. So people might be curbing their spending, like this article says, because of all the rising prices that we have, and people might just not be spending as much because they've noticed that everything's gotten more expensive. So that is a real worry, right? That's the real downside to this whole inflation thing, right? If stuff gets really expensive, people stop spending money, and then those businesses stop having as good earnings, and they stop buying as many manufacturing components and hiring as many workers. And it's just this cycle, right? Once that happens, then the workers who got laid off, or then the other businesses who aren't selling as many manufacturing components have to lay off some workers or something. And it's just this whole cycle of this downward spiral where, once we really slow down the economy, it's tough to get it running back again. So it might, typically when the economy does slow down, the government has to step in, or the government decides to step in, and they'll do something like what we saw during the beginning of COVID. They'll do some stimulus, they'll print some money, and that's what caused a lot of this inflation that we're looking at now. So it's going to be tough, right? Because if they're trying to combat inflation at the same time that the economy is slowing down, they'll want to not be adding extra money to the economy, which is typically what you would do to speed it up if the economy is slowing down. So it's going to be tough what the Fed has to do over the next couple of months and years. If they have to fight inflation and fight a slowing economy at the same time, it could be relatively tough to do. But we'll see. I mean, if anyone can do it, it might be Jerome Powell, but hopefully he can do it. I don't know. He may have gotten us into this mess. He may have helped get us into this mess. Maybe he can get us out. We'll see. We haven't fallen apart completely yet, but we do have another, unfortunately, another somewhat negative story. Many hospitals are halting non-urgent procedures and relying on the National Guard as COVID-19 hospitalizations rise. So this story came out this morning at 8, just about an hour ago. And unfortunately, it seems like COVID hospitalizations have reached new highs more states and healthcare systems are cutting back services that aren't urgent and relying on National Guard personnel to fill staffing gaps as infected healthcare employees miss work to recover and patient demand grows. So it looks like if we take a look at the chart, we were hearing a couple of days that maybe we're going to be maxing out the COVID cases, right? It may end up plateauing sometime soon just because it's infecting so many people. And if you take a look, we obviously cover this a decent amount because it is now starting to have potentially some kind of impact on the economy. But we can see that, way back in January of last year, in January of 2021, we thought that was a lot of COVID cases. Look at it now. I mean, it just dwarfs what we've seen in the past. Now, fortunately, we'll pull up the deaths. The deaths are not as high as they were back in January of last year, right? They are on the rise, but compared to what we're seeing case count-wise, they are relatively low compared to that, at least regarding the ratios that we've seen in the past, right? You can see that we had very high case counts and very high deaths in the past. Now we have far higher case counts, far higher new case counts, and still lower deaths. So overall, it's looking like this strain is potentially not as damaging to people's lives. It's just more infectious. So that's what we're hoping for, and hopefully this will plateau at some point, right? Hopefully we're near the top of it. Hopefully we've already seen the peak right here at 1.35 million new cases in a single day. Hopefully that's the peak, and now we can just slowly start going back down as it's kind of run its course and infected a ton of people. Hopefully a lot of people have immunity at this point, so we'll see if that's actually the case. But overall, it's not having the worst impact on the economy, right? The economy definitely got hit a lot harder during the beginning of COVID when people were very fearful of it than they have been now. So overall, it could be a little bit worse. But good morning, everybody. Welcome to the chat. It looks like I've been neglecting this, but good morning, BB. You got your coffee too, so do I. Look at this. So, we're watching, Sundial. We got rid of Sundial, but a lot of these stocks have unfortunately been falling over the past 24 hours. And not even BBIG stock is immune to it, even though it was on a big run-up over the past couple of days. Yesterday, it ran up again. So it did end up seeing about a 30% gain from the close of the day prior to the highs. Let's take a peek at the chart and just make sure that's what happened. So we've got it closing around, where did it close? Around there, all right. So BBIG was up, another 32, 33% to the highs, about 25% to the close. So all in all, BBIG has been a beast over the past couple of days, and hopefully that will continue. I know a lot of people are hoping it will continue. We'll try to pull up some of the data on BBIG. Let's see what we've got on Google. I haven't actually looked at it yet this morning, but let's see what we've got over the past 7 days. Are we making new highs on it? Yeah, so look at this. Look at this. Hold on just a second. We've got it right here. BBIG stock is making a new record this morning at 9. I guess a lot of new people are looking into it, or at least more than were yesterday. But you can see over the past couple of days, we've just continued to climb. Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to see a green day in the stock, right? Every stock goes down at some point. It's not a guarantee, but let's see what we've got on. Okay, so it's the number 3 most active on StockTwits, right below SPY and AMC. It looks like those two have risen since yesterday, but so has BBIG. So currently, BBIG is down about 4.8%, it looks like. All right, so we have been falling. Obviously, a lot of stocks have been falling. The S&P has been falling this pre-market, and it fell quite a bit yesterday. So BBIG certainly outperformed the S&P yesterday. We'll see if it can do it again. A lot of people are hoping that this is going to be a massive run-up like we've seen in the past, right, to maybe $10 or something like that. Some people have been saying $6. We'll see how high it can go. It may have capped out, right? It may have capped out. Hopefully that's not the case for whoever's invested in it. But it is interesting. Sub-Zero says, did you sell all your Sundial? No way. Still in Sundial. Still got all my Sundial, actually. I'm not worried about Sundial. Look at this. It is down a little bit. Down to 56, but let's see if is there any news coming out? No, nothing. No news on Sundial today. Just moved down with the markets. It looked like the markets were down. Potentially, yeah, the markets were down. Not more than Sundial, but Sundial is a small market cap and whatnot. So You gotta roll with the punches with Sundial. Unfortunately, that's the case. But, Sundial, fortunately, is not making new lows. It looks like we're still in this period of stagnation. Hopefully, we don't make new lows. I really don't want to see us go back to 53 cents, but if we did, then I'd be willing to buy up some more Sundial. AMC, on the other hand, look at this. It looks like we just hit 20 bucks this morning, and that might actually be, yeah, that's the low. That's the low for AMC, the all-time low since the pump happened just minutes ago at 20 bucks. Look at that. Look at that. So hopefully it doesn't blast through 20. 20 should act as a support for it, which, it has in the past. Granted, it's a fairly significant market cap at this point. So let me pull up Yahoo Finance and we'll figure out what the market cap is on AMC. Let's see. So AMC has a market cap of $10 billion right now, $10.6 billion at the moment. So hopefully we won't see it shrink too much below that. I know a lot of people would be very disappointed to see that happen. Now, AMC is the most active stock on StockTwits, but what else is new, right? It's always pretty much the most active stock on StockTwits. And it's not ideal to see it really sitting at 20 bucks. Now, granted, the last time this happened was, let's see, about 20-something days ago, and it did the exact same thing. It got down in the pre-market and then had a big bounce as the market opened, and that actually launched it on its rally up to 30 bucks. So there's some potential upside with AMC, right? It could hopefully go through a similar thing, see a similar pattern, as long as people trade it the same way, right? If people see this as a big buying opportunity, then hopefully AMC will be on the rise. And Kitchener Leslie says, "Is YouTube shadow banning you, Rob?" I don't think so. We're pretty fair on this channel. I think we don't say anything that YouTube wouldn't like. Hopefully. But I don't think we're being shadow banned. I see, new people coming into the channel. We are actually, it's exciting stuff. Look at this, guys. We're getting pretty darn close to 10K subscribers. Now, I will admit, it's definitely slowed down over the past couple months. So maybe there is some banning going on. Hopefully not, though. But look at this. We are at 9,810 subscribers, so we're less than 200 away from 10,000. So cool stuff. I'm happy to see it. I don't think we've been shadow banned. I think when you've been shadow banned, the views stop completely. So, Slim Daddy Bim says, YouTube doesn't like people talking about DWAC. Yeah, I guess, maybe not. But a lot of people talk about DWAC. A lot of big finance YouTubers talk about it. Meet Kevin talked about it. I don't think that YouTube is shadow banning anyone who discusses DWAC. So, hopefully not, at least, right? But we do, just in case, we do, I'll show you guys real quick. We have right here, look at this. We have a Rumble channel. So we're on Rumble as Rob Amazy, and we get some views on Rumble, right? It's nothing crazy. Sometimes some videos do better than others if they've been put on the trending page, but we have almost 500 followers on Rumble. So just in case YouTube does decide to pull something, we've got a little backup right here. And hopefully it'll become more of a main thing too. I mean, I enjoy the Rumble channel. So, obviously they're still working on their infrastructure and whatnot. And I did say, guys, that I had a big announcement coming out today, but that was only if I got what I needed to get done. And I did not do that. So I will be doing that soon, though. I will be doing that soon. Hold on just a second. Let's see. So, okay. What the heck? Huh. Look at this. What is this? So, is NAKD... Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Very cool. Very cool stuff. So, NAKD is changing its name from NAKD to CENN. That's exactly what I thought. So look at that. They've officially changed their name. So we've got both tickers. I'll pull it up here, CENN. I just noticed that by looking at the stock Twits leaderboard and seeing Central Electric Group was up there as CENN stock instead of NAKD. So look at that. We've got NAKD. It looks like they stopped trading on the NAKD chart, and now they're trading on the CENN chart. So look at that thing. It's about to open as CENN for the first time ever. So finally, they've made the right choice and changed their name from NAKD to CENN. I'm happy to see it. It makes a lot more sense to be trading under a new ticker symbol. So good stuff, good stuff. I'm very happy to see that CENN is the new ticker for NAKD stock. It'll surely confuse a whole lot of people who have been holding NAKD, but it's a necessary move, I think. So I'm happy to see it. So we've got the market open. It's about to open in 3 minutes. Hopefully it's a green open, but you never know, especially with these retail sales numbers. Although, when did that number come out? I think that was 8:30. Yeah, so 8:30. Yeah, unfortunately we did drop on that, but we have rebounded a little bit in the S&P since then. BBIG seen something similar. Hopefully we'll see a green day for BBIG. I know a lot of people are counting on that. Obviously, we're reaching records search interest-wise on Google, so a lot of new people are probably considering this stock. But it does get riskier, right? That every day that it pumps up, it's very tough to maintain a pump day after day. The more days in a row that you see a pump, the more likely it is that the next day you'll see a little bit of a pullback, and we could be starting that now. Now, obviously, if you look at yesterday's pre-market, we saw something kind of similar. We saw a little bit of a pullback, but then we did end the pre-market in a somewhat strong way. We at least held our own. But this pre-market, we are unfortunately just trending down a little bit. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, in the next couple of minutes, something could change, and we could get a big boost, but it's getting a little late, right? The hour is late for that. We're getting, and Vivi asks, what is CENN doing? So instead of NAKD, we got CENN. So it looks like, I'll pull up NAKD here. It's kind of tough to gauge when exactly this happened. So are they serious? Look at that. They started trading just before 4:20. They started at 4:19. They could have waited an extra minute and continued being a meme stock, but looks like they wanted to be a little bit more serious, so they started trading at 4:19. Okay, so it looks like when they first debuted, there was a little bit of pump up, some volume, obviously, on that news, a little bit at least, a couple decent volume for the pre-market, but we could see something crazy go on today, right? If it's a new ticker. Let's see, actually. Let's do this. So look at this. On Google Trends, we've got two searches, one for NAKD stock, the blue, and one for CENN stock in red. So we've got the swap going. It looks like people first started searching for it, at 4 when it first listed. And now it's getting decently popular. It hasn't eclipsed what NAKD is doing, but it would not surprise me to see a lot of new people searching for that one just because it's a new ticker. So we could see something good. And this gives it a little bit more legitimacy, right? Instead of being NAKD, it's now a real legitimate Central Automotive, right? So good to see. Obviously, we're still really just waiting. What is the CENN product? Asks Vivi. The CENN product, it's the same. It's Central Automotive's. They're electric vehicles. So we'll pull up. I'll show you their cars real quick, just for those of you who are interested in them. Let's see here. We got their homepage, so I'm sure they'll have their vehicles there. We've looked at it in the past. It's always been relatively interesting looking page, as some videos playing typically, but let's see. Let's zoom in on some of these charts too in the meantime while this page is loading. It's a slow page for some reason. So here we go. So Centro, let's look at their vehicles. So they've got the Metro, the Logistar 400, the Logistar 200. Let's pull up the Logistar 200. if this page would work. Looks like it's a slow page, but basically they're in EVs, mostly commercial, well, pretty much exclusively commercial electric vehicles. So they sell them to businesses, not to individuals. And it's because it's this kind of stuff, right? It's like a van that you would use to transport goods. And they've been doing well in Japan. They've also been getting orders in Europe, so they've been doing pretty darn good. And some of their customers include Amazon. So overall, I'm not too worried about them over the long term. Obviously, they're falling in price right now. We'll see how long that continues now that they're trading as CENN. I think maybe they realized they had to do that and just shake off the NAKD branding. So I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see that, they're trading as a much more legitimate looking ticker at this point. It makes a lot more sense for them to be trading as CENN. That was probably my biggest complaint about them since the merger went through. Now, obviously, they didn't want to change everything all at once, right? People were already confused when they saw that NAKD was trading at a different price and whatnot. They'd have been even more confused if they just saw their NAKD shares were gone and they had a new company in their stock account. So this is probably the best way to do it, right? They didn't wait so long. They didn't wait too long. It was just a couple of weeks. And Rob, are you holding any CENN? I am. It just turned into CENN today, must have. But it was NAKD before this, so yeah, I'm holding some. Not a crazy amount, right? I'm in a couple different EV companies. I don't need too much exposure to EVs, but I am in them as a smaller, potentially more speculative play, right? They obviously have really good predictions for what their earnings and their deliveries are going to look like, but we have to have them meet those expectations, and that's what will probably boost their price up. Now, AMC is actually seeing some green at the market open. It looks like right before the market open and during the market open, we're seeing some green on AMC. Fortunately, it looks like people might be repeating the pattern of the past where we do get a little upshoot in price on a bounce off of $20. Hopefully that will be the case. The SPY is, you could say it's trending up a little bit. It's hardly moved. It's kind of just stagnating. BBIG is deciding what to do, though. We've got, let's see, is this big volume coming into BBIG compared to what we've seen? It's not the craziest volume. It's not the craziest. Nothing huge. Let's see how we're ranking on Reddit, if there's any indication of what's going on with BBIG, if we've got anything. So, BBIG, Vinco Ventures, look at this. It is the number 7 top trending stock on Reddit, Wall Street Bets, up 5 spots today, which is strange because it was at number 9 yesterday, so I don't know how they're counting this, but it's up 5 spots from 9 to 7, and it is up to 243 mentions and 4,000 upvotes. So, all in all, it's certainly gaining popularity online. Now, will it gain in price on that popularity? It's tough to say, right? The third day of a pump, it would not surprise me to see us take a little bit of a breather on BBIG stock price, right? Which it looks like we might be doing. We're down about 5%. Obviously, no, if a lot of volume comes in, then we could move up. But we are in a little bit of a downtrend during the pre-market, from the pre-market. And it's looking like we might be continuing that, right? Obviously, the past couple of days that we've pumped, I'll show you guys the pattern that we saw. We did see an upshoot in price initially, then a little bit of a breathing period, and then an upshoot in price later in the day. We saw the exact same thing the day after. We saw an upshoot in price initially, a little bit of a breather, and then we started moving up again throughout the rest of the day. So maybe we'll see something similar, but 3 days is probably too much to see the exact same pattern happening. Typically, when you can really predict exactly what's going on in the stock market like that, then typically it'll change itself up and swap itself around and do something that you don't expect, right? Because it's just everyone expecting that to happen and then playing their hand based off of what's happened in the past, and that tends to change things up. And then you've got people who are playing 2 steps ahead of the game, expecting it to change, and are making different moves because of that, and it just gets very convoluted. So we'll see what happens with BBIG. Overall, it's looking like at the moment we're in a little bit of a downtrend, but we'll see. If there ever was a time to reverse that downtrend, it would be at the market open when real volume's coming in. Now, the fact that we haven't just started plummeting is good, right? That means that, at least for now, it's not been a huge pump and dump. Obviously, there are still catalysts for BBIG, right? we'll take a peek at the options. A lot of people have been talking about a gamma squeeze. We'll see if that's a possibility. So the January 14th options expiring today. I have to say, not the craziest amount of options. 4,000, 7,000, 10,000. It's good. It's good, but not great at these prices. It's not incredible. I would prefer, yeah, here we go. The 2021 options. Well, yeah, the options for the 21st. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Look at this. 18,000, 33,000, 36,000, 74,000 open interest call options at a lot of these different strike prices. That's what I'm talking about, right? This stuff, 4,000, 7,000, 10,000, it's not that great. But the options for January 21st, that's where we're really getting some real open interest options volume. So I'm liking the look of that. If there was a chance for a gamma squeeze, this would be it. If we really did start pumping up in price, then we could certainly see a continuation of that pump up from people having to buy back shares of the stock, or rather buy shares of the stock to cover their options positions. So that could be good. That could definitely be good for BBIG. Now, it looks like AMC just took a dump below 20 bucks, 19.59, the new low for AMC stock since the pump up. My guess is that this is not making people happy, right? I don't think people are happy to see it. Looks like BBIG is moving up again, so good to see. BBIG seeing some green. Now, AMC, hopefully it will follow, right there. Hopefully it will follow. Okay, look at that. We're getting back up above 20 bucks with AMC. Centro doesn't have a price to base itself off of from yesterday. It looks like they didn't mix the chart. I mean, eventually, my expectation is they will add in the previous part of this chart, but currently with Centro, even if you look at the 1 year, it's only today that it's showing. So we don't actually know. Well, we can pull up the NAKD chart, but it's kind of convoluted to look at two different charts. But we'll pull up Sundial and see what Sundial has going on. Looks like we're seeing some green in Sundial. We're up 1.6%. Happy to see it. The markets are turning green, which is potentially helping to spur this rally, right? It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Was that the same bar? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so when the markets turned green, BBIG turned green. Oddly enough, right? And AMC also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. AMC also started to turn green, get back up above 20 bucks. Sundial was always looking pretty green. We saw some green pretty much every bar. There's only been 2 when it hasn't been, but it's looking like we're moving on the way up with Sundial as well. So we're hitting up 57 cents now. The S&P is hopefully going to turn green for the day. We're only down 0.33%. And BBIG has turned green as well. So look at that. It's up 0.85%. Hopefully we'll continue that. It's no guarantee, but it is doing pretty good search interest-wise on Google. We'll pull that back up. We'll get rid of the NAKD and Centro search and pull back up BBIG. Let's see what we've got. So yeah, we've got for BBIG stock, we do still have that. It hasn't changed too much. We've still got the same amount of people searching for it, but my guess would be that if we see it get up maybe 5 to 8%, that could spur a whole lot of new people discussing it, and potentially we could see it get back on the trending page, right? Because that'll be the 3rd day in a row that it's showing signs of a potential big pump up, right? It pumped up about 25-30%. 2 days in a row now. We'll see if it can happen a 3rd day. The 3rd day is when I get a little skeptical, right? A lot of people are talking about the options chain. They're talking about a gamma squeeze. I'm not so sure that we've got enough options expiring today. We've got some. We've got 10,000 at 350. But it's not as many as you see on the 21st. I mean, this is when it starts to really look like there's some potential, right? When you see tens of thousands of options at every 50-cent increment. This one, I mean, you can add together the 4,000, the 7,000, and the 10,000, and you've got less than just what we've got at $4 right here. So, 33,000. So you've got pretty much half of that. So it's not the most promising gamma squeeze for today, but over the next week or so, as those new options begin to begin to expire, or as we reach those strike dates, then maybe we'll see something. And it looks like volume is actually increasing on BBIG. It looks like we're up 2%. I mean, what's really going to drive it up today, the gamma will help, right? As long as we're rising in price, obviously some people are going to have to be covering these positions, buying up shares of the stock if these get additional strike dates in the money, especially. And we're only about 42 cents away from getting another 9,000 options in the money. So, it will have some impact. It won't have the most massive impact, but really what we're running on right now, it looks like, is just consumer buying pressure, retail buying pressure, really. So once again, we're number 3 on stock twits. I would have liked to see us a little bit higher for better hopes of a pump today, but we're high on Reddit too, and we're maxing out on Google. So all in all, it's looking like an interesting situation for BBIG, right? It's not a guarantee. And M says, i.e., everyone Google BBIG. Yeah, we can. I mean, we can drive this number up ourselves if we want. We can drive up the search ranking on Google if we wish. Let's not, though. Let's let it be natural. So, let's see. We are a kind of mixed bag today, and I'll pull up. Well, the stock map isn't going to show us too much, but the screener might. We'll see, though. We'll see if the screener shows us anything good. Typically, I don't know why. I mean, FinViz, maybe you need to pay for it or something, but it doesn't really show you updated data for the first 10, 15 minutes of the market, unfortunately. So let's see, today up. Yeah, so look at that. The performance statistic isn't out yet. Oh, well, FinViz is not my favorite. I mean, it's decent, but if you're doing anything serious, then it's not the best. It does have a nice market map, though. Now, we'll pull up the cryptos real quick. Obviously, Dogecoin's doing incredibly well, right? It's up 10% on the day, 25% on the week. Shiba Inu is not reacting well to this news. Look at this. Shiba Inu is actually dropping. It looks like around the same time that Doge was gaining. So, let's see. It did see a little bit of a spike up at the exact same time that Doge was spiking. Maybe people, I don't know how people took that as good news for Shiba Inu, but it did pump up the exact same time that Doge did when Elon sent out that tweet between 118 and 130 or whatnot. So Shiba Inu did spike up, but it did not maintain that spike, and it looks like we are still down over the past 24 hours, just a little bit on Shiba Inu price. So all in all, it's definitely not responded as favorably to this Elon Musk news because, Elon wasn't really talking about his Shiba Inu Floki or anyone like that. Just saying that Dogecoin specifically was being accepted as shop for merch. So we are actually seeing a little bit of a pullback, it looks like, in a lot of these cryptos. Dogecoin seems to be the exception. Elon Musk saved it, it looks like, but Bitcoin down about 2% on the day. Yeah, look at that. So we did see a bit of a tanking earlier in the morning around 6, and we've rebounded somewhat, but nothing crazy. So yeah, we are, what the heck is this that they've added? The live Bitcoin chat. Man, they're really trying here to pump this thing up because they've gotten rid of a lot of the price statistics. They've moved them down, actually, and just replaced it with this Bitcoin chat, which, I mean, who wants this? This doesn't seem too useful at all. I mean, the last message was from January 13th, so it's not even that recent, right? If we click refresh, yeah, I mean, that's the last easy. Okay, yeah, look at these messages. They're very helpful. Easy, next 125K. If I buy some instant crash to $1, if I sell bullish to 200K. So these messages are completely useless, it looks like. And they got rid of the price statistics. They moved the price statistics down so you can't see them next to the chart. Shame on you, CoinMarketCap. I don't like that. I would much rather have the price statistics next to the chart so that I know what the price of Bitcoin is while I'm looking at the chart. And then, if you want to put the chat in and bother me with it, then put it below. But it looks like they're going the opposite way with it. They really want the chat. They want to become a social media company. So there we go. But Bitcoin currently trading for $42,500. And it looks like we may be renewing this downtrend, unfortunately. Over the past couple of days, we have been falling, or past day or so, really, we've been falling. Hopefully, we don't make new lows, right? If we hit up 40,000, some people are probably going to start getting scared with their Bitcoin, right? Now, we did actually see, during this drop a big move up in volume. So a lot of new Bitcoin sellers around the time of that drop must have come in and crash that price down. Now we're seeing volume decrease, and it looks like maybe Bitcoin will start to stabilize. But all in all, Bitcoin is on the way back down. It looks like Ethereum, we're seeing something similar. Look at that. Yeah, Ethereum is also on the way down. All these cryptos are red, except for Dogecoin, it looks like, and obviously the stable coins. And then Litecoin is also green. You know, Litecoin was one of the first cryptos that I ever bought way back in 2017, and it was definitely one of the ones that I lost like 50% on. Fortunately, I'd only put like 100 or 200 bucks into cryptos at the time, at the peak of the crypto hype. I made a Coinbase account, and as everyone did, bought a little bit of the top trending cryptos. So all in all, you know, not the best decision, but could have been worse. Now, interesting, SDC, Smile Direct Club, is up about 5% on the day. And I've been eyeing Smile Direct Club for a while. I still haven't gotten into it, but I am considering an entrance, right? It's just so cheap, sitting around $2 per share. It's really been beaten down quite a bit. I am considering getting into it, right? Because there is potential for it as an actual company, right? If they can just boost their revenues a little bit and get into good standing with investors, I think that they could be doing good decently over the long term. Obviously, that's easier said than done. But they've also, if we pull up the Ortex data, they've also got some short squeeze potential. SDC, we'll pull it up real quick. Here we go. So SDC, we've got right here at 33% short interest of the free float. So 33% of Smile Direct Club's free float is short. That equates to about 36.42 million shares, and it's increased just a little bit today. So we'll pull up. It looks like the short interest was rather high at one point. Now it's more lately it's decreased, but it's on the rise again. Which is strange to see because it's already so cheap. I mean, I don't know what they're hoping to get. Maybe they're hoping for bankruptcy, but it just seems kind of crazy to be shorting Smile Direct Club at $2 when it's already at all-time lows, it looks like. So it just seems kind of crazy to me. But obviously, they've been losing money for quite a while, but it does seem like the kind of business model that could do well. Now, BBIG is doing very well, right? It's up 3.68%. We're up to 365. We're not at the highs that we were at just yesterday around the end of the market at 385. Hopefully we'll get there soon. But we need to see some additional volume come in. It looks like we're seeing decent volume. My guess is we need a little bit more than this to really pump us up to new highs, right? I think that as we hit the highs, that's typically it's a signal to some traders. They want to get out when they're making new highs, when you're hitting up on the highs. They think that's maybe a little bit of a resistance that we'll see, and potentially it is, right? We might see a little resistance for BBIG around 385. I mean, let's draw a line there and just see what happens when we hit it. It's very possible that we'll see some resistance at 385, but overall, we have been doing pretty darn good on the social indicators. So let's refresh some of these pages and see what we've got if we are continuing to do well. Yeah, so we're not okay. So we'll pull up the rankings. So we're not trending on StockTwits. So there's not necessarily a bunch of new people coming in sending out messages about BBIG stock on StockTwits, but we are still maintaining that number 3 spot on the most active. Hopefully that will be enough to just maintain. It's still number 7 on Reddit, and on Google, my guess is not much has changed. Google's typically fairly slow one. I mean, if we did, if we spiked up, I'll show you guys on the chart. If we spiked up, 10% on the chart, then I'm sure Google would update relatively quickly. A lot of new people would be looking into it. But on FinViz, let's see if we can. Okay, it looks like the market map is out. So we'll get the screener for BBIG. Let's see where it is on the day. It's obviously not up that much. It's up 4% from the close of yesterday, which is good. That's good. That's better than most stocks, probably. So let me pull it up on FinViz and see what we've got. Okay, so we're looking for today up, and then we're looking for positive change. So it is, unfortunately, let's pull this onto the main screen, not on the front page in the top 20 gainers on FinViz yet. That can get some additional attention for stocks, right? If you end up getting your stock up a decent amount, then you can get on this FinViz search indicator. This is a very simple search, right? It's just for stocks over $1 on the NASDAQ that are up today. And BBIG, man, it's nowhere to be seen because FinViz does, unfortunately, take some time. Here we go. Oh, no, that's BBGI. Look at that. So, I'm sure, obviously, since it is up about, it's only up 2% now, maybe it won't show up for a bit, but typically, when a stock gains a decent amount, that's when people will really start piling into it, right? That's when they think there's enough momentum to carry it into the stratosphere to keep it moving up. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with BBIG. It's looking like we're seeing a little bit of a red bar at the moment, maybe a little slowdown in the gains. Hopefully we can continue them, though. I mean, I know a lot of people are probably banking on it at the moment. Unfortunately, we started talking about this one yesterday, so there was still some potential with it. And that's not to say there's not potential. Obviously, we're seeing some beautiful green today, actually very similar to what we've seen both other days that we've pumped up. Now, we could certainly continue the pattern of seeing this. Here, let's get a better angle on it, but we could certainly continue this pattern where we move up in the very earliest morning trading, then we move down a little bit. I'll pull this up. It's happened twice so far. So what we could be looking for is actually a bit of a decrease in BBIG stock price. However, that could be a fake out, right? If it does continue the same exact pattern, it seems a little unlikely that we would do the exact same thing 3 days in a row. It's possible, but this could be the fake out, right? You got to watch out for that, guys. You got to watch out for the fake out. If we do start moving down, that could accelerate itself, right? Obviously, as the stock has gotten more expensive, it's going to be a little bit tougher to move. The market cap has gone up. Let's pull up the market cap on BBIG just to see what it's at right now. So it's at, okay, it's not that bad of a market cap. Still under $1 billion, $491 million. Obviously, it's bigger than it was 2 days ago, but not the most significant market cap. Not the worst. It's only up maybe 60 or 70% from where it was. So let's see. How much has it gained from these lows of around $2? So from 236 to where it is now, it's gained about 52%. Okay. So all in all, it's not gotten incredibly tough to move. Retail could still easily move $500 million market cap stock. But it would help, I'll say, to get some whales coming into it, right? That's what you really want to see. And it is early enough. If this is going to end up being a big pump, let me get rid of some of these circles real quick. If this is going to end up being a really big pump, if you look at the yearly chart, there is still more room to go, right? It could end up going significantly higher than this, right? There's no reason that 385 has to be the peak on BBIG stock. Now, will it happen is a completely different story, right? Obviously, every time people see a stock going up 50%, they want it to continue shooting up. They want to make a ton of money on it. If there was a chance for that to happen, it's seeming like today is a good day, though. Look at this. SDC, another potential short squeeze play, is getting some love. It's up about 7% on the day. It's seen some improving volume. And it's nothing crazy. No crazy news, but SDC is looking like a potential good play at the moment. I've been eyeing it, and this could be the one. Let's see. Nothing crazy on the yearly chart, though, but notably up 7%. So that could fade away, right? That 7%, that's not really much of anything, but SDC could be one, which we'll keep an eye on. We'll also keep an eye on AMC, which is experiencing some volatility. I mean, it dipped below 20 bucks and it's still there, and it's trying to get back above. This will be probably a deciding time for AMC stock to see if it's going to be able to recover and maintain its price above $20 over the long term, or if it's going down. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, and I will be right back, guys. Quick break real quick. Sit tight. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we are back, and it looks like AMC has recovered somewhat, right? We're back up above 20 bucks, so I'm glad to see it. It looks like the S&P has continued doing decently well, and BBIG is on the move down, so it looks like, continuing this. Well, that's not the chart we want. Let's look at the 30-minute. It looks, it's not quite the same. It's pretty darn similar, actually, to what we saw yesterday. It might be continuing the same kind of pattern that we saw yesterday. It's going to be tough to say. 3 days in a row kind of seems like too much. It seems like too many days to do the exact same thing of having this pump up and then a little pullback before a really big pump. I don't know. It seems like a little bit too much. Now, we are actually moving down pretty hard. It looks like on the 30-minute chart. We've lost a lot of the top of this green candlestick. Now, we did the same thing yesterday, right? We lost quite a bit of that candlestick. But this one, I mean, we'll see what happens with this. If we get some big red bars, I mean, it's not a guarantee. We are at break even on the day now, so we just became red, it looks like. BBIG is now down 0.5% from the close of yesterday. Hopefully, and yeah, M says smash the like button. Please do, guys. So let me actually know, it's been a long time since I've put a poll in the chat, and I am curious. We'll ask what your favorite stock at the moment is. And I'm curious what you guys have to say. So we've only got 4 options. We'll do Sundial, DWAC, AMC. Will we do No, we'll do BBIG. And yeah, then we'll do AMC. How about that? And we'll see what people's favorite stock out of the 4 is, what they believe in the most. And it'll be interesting to see. Now, SDC, it looks like, continued up to 214, and now it's moving back down to 210. I think that potentially 260 could be a good entrance on it. If I see it continue move up to 260, then I think chances are it's getting at $3, maybe $4. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, maybe it falls a little bit. Maybe it moves down. This isn't guaranteed to be a big run up on SDC yet, but let's see. We've got a couple of votes coming in. A lot of people like Sundial, a lot of people like DWAC, some people like BBIG. No votes for AMC yet. We just got the first. Let's see what we've got. So far, DWAC is taking over in the vote. A lot of people like DWAC. Almost 50% of people. And what is this? CENN is up 15%. Well, it's tough to say what 15% is, right? It doesn't have numbers here. But NAKD, where did it close? So it closed at 260, and CENN is now at 296. So yeah, that's up significantly. So look at this. I'm happy to see it. I mean, it makes sense, right, that they finally made the right call and changed their ticker symbol to CENN, which obviously, you know, they didn't want to spook too many investors right off the bat, but I think they maybe should have done it a little bit sooner. But so be it. You know, they did the right thing eventually. It didn't take them too long. But I am happy to see that they're now trading under a much more legitimate ticker symbol. And wow, yeah, so 32 votes in. Make sure to vote in this poll, guys. I'm very curious what your favorite stock at the moment is. You know, let's see what we got. So let's pull up. Let's pull this up. Okay, so BBIG unfortunately falling just a touch. Looks like we're not quite as green as we were earlier today. Obviously, we were up about 5%. Now we're down a little bit, but the S&P notably has been falling the past couple of minutes as well. So that might have had a small impact. And let me edit real quick the description of this and just get rid of all mentions of NAKD because it doesn't look like I have too many mentions of NAKD. All right, that's fine. Oh yeah, Max Pierce. Yeah, the options. So I'll show you the options. So let's actually see how much am I up on the options. And ooh, I have a bunch of options expiring next week. Now, fortunately, they're option sales, right? So that'll essentially just be an opportunity for me to sell more options using those stocks as collateral. Not DWAC, of course, but let's see. So DWAC, the puts. So we've got 2 of these DWAC $50 puts. Now, we'll pull up the camera on this. So we've got 2. Let me turn on Do Not Disturb. I don't want any text messages popping up. But we've got these DWAC $50 puts that we've sold. So we've sold these puts. Normally, you know, if you buy a put, that is a bearish position on the stock. So selling a put that you don't own is actually a bullish position on the stock. So what this means essentially is that by January 20th, 2023, if DWAC is below $50 per share, then I must purchase it and purchase it for $50 per share, right? So even if it's trading for $20, I still have to pay $50 for it. However, someone paid me $30 per share for the right to sell it to me. So if it ends above $50 per share, I double my money. It is essentially how this works. And for me to break even, DWAC has to move down to $15.50 per share. So all in all, it's a pretty good trade. I'm happy with that because to make the same reward, right? To make the same reward from when I sold this thing, DWAC has to go to $100. So, you know, it's possible. We were certainly, it looks like, on the way. But it's a much lower risk trade, right? Because for me to lose money, right? To lose money on the trade when I made it, but when it was around $50, all that would have happened, or all that would have had to happen is DWAC would have had to move down a dollar or two, and I would have lost money. I don't lose money until DWAC gets down around here to 15 bucks. So it's a much safer trade that gives a lot more potential downside to DWAC before it becomes unprofitable. So that's why I like the options. You know, I saw it as just too good of an option. And BB says, okay, Rob, 10:30 a.m. show returns. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, I think yesterday we did it, and we'll pull back up BBIG real quick. But yeah, yesterday we made it to 10:30, and I think that we'll continue doing that. So my throat feels decent enough. You know, every now and then there's a lingering cough in it, but nothing too bad. So yeah, I think 10:30 is the time for the foreseeable future that we'll be doing this until. So good stuff. I'm happy to be able to get back into it and do the longer form streams. You know, the hour was it was fine. It wasn't quite as much time as I would have liked, but unfortunately, you know, my throat demanded it sometimes. So let's pull back up Sundial and see what we've got. And let's see if there's any new crazy news. Oh, okay. So interesting. Looks like, well, in the poll. Also, guys, don't forget to vote in the poll right now. We've got 94 viewers and only 42 votes in the poll and 68 likes. We could probably bump that up to 70 with only 2 more. But the favorite stock poll, we got Sundial, DWAC, BBIG, and AMC. It looks like relatively few AMC votes have come in. We've seen some BBIG. Obviously, we've got a lot of Sundial and DWAC. You know, James Wood, unfortunately, the links never show up in the live chat. YouTube must have just shut down links. So that is too bad. Like, I don't even see the link that you posted, man. It just doesn't even show up in the chat. But I can look this up. CFBI Google. And let's see. So let's see. Interesting. Look at this. Yeah, so look at this. So this is among the reasons why we have filed an antitrust. This is from, I believe, the CEO of Rumble. So this is among the reasons why we have filed an antitrust lawsuit at Google for behavior like this, which is intolerable. And apparently when you search Rumble videos and go to the videos tab, rumble.com on YouTube shows up, the first 2 links. So let's see if that's the case when we do it. Let's go. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. So you search Rumble on Google, and the first couple of things that pop up are rumble.com on YouTube. So what is this? Let's see. Okay. Okay. And then it's just the rumble.com YouTube channel. So that's interesting. Now, yeah, what do you guys think about that? Do you think that, you know, if Google made this search engine and whatnot, that they should be able to use it to direct people to their own services, or should they, you know, should they have to put up other search results and whatnot? That is an interesting issue. Cool stuff, though. Very cool to see that you know, that they had the picture of it on Twitter and that it worked perfectly when you searched for it, exactly as they said it would. So that's interesting. All right, so it looks like AMC just came back up above 20 bucks. Sundial's starting to move back down, and the S&P, we're seeing some green on this. We're seeing some green on the S&P, and BBIG is trying to become green again. We'll see if it can do it. Hopefully it can. We're we're probably going to be struggling with BBIG today, right? It looks like on the 30-minute chart, we've seen, if we were really following the pattern from yesterday, then we'd see a couple of red bars. We'd see 2 red bars. And that's what we need to see to really continue the pattern from the past 2 days. We need a big greenish one that we didn't quite end at the top, and then 2 reds. If we were doing the exact same thing over the course of today that we did the past 2 days, we'd need that. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we do see some form of green on BBIG. I know a lot of people are wanting that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. So let's pull back up the chart and zoom in just a touch. It looks like AMC is really potentially getting ready to go on a tear. It is just moving up past that $20 level. So it looks like people really didn't like AMC stock being below 20 bucks. Let's see on Stock Twits who's talking about AMC. So AMC, of course, is above SPY. It is the #1 discussed stock. So good stuff. Good stuff. And AMC, let's pull this up over here. So AMC, #1 most active on stock to its SPY #2. BBIG sticking at #3. It doesn't look like as too much of a chance to come back and take over SPY. It's got 12,800 mentions. SPY is 13,500, and AMC, I don't think anything's getting above that 16,500. So BBIG might have to give up on becoming the top of the leaderboard on Stock Twits, but hopefully that doesn't mean it won't be green today, right? So let's see. Now here's an interesting guy on Twitter. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but Peter Schiff. He's a chief economist and global strategist at Europe Pacific Capital, and he's a gold bug, right? He's a gold bug. He likes gold. He always talks about gold, and he thinks that the government is definitely overstepping its bounds in a lot of ways. And he's been on Joe Rogan a couple of times. Joe Rogan follows him. He's got a decent number of followers. I've listened to his podcast from time to time. He says, #retail sales unexpectedly tanked by 1.9% in December. Excluding autos and gas, the plunge was an even deeper 2.5%. Since these numbers are not #inflation adjusted, and since we know prices are way up, the real decline in sales volume is even greater as Americans pay more and get less. So look at that. It is an interesting perspective. It is definitely an interesting perspective that Peter Schiff brings to the table. I've listened to quite a few of his podcasts. And I agree with a lot of what he says. I think it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, he made a good point, right? The fact that retail sales declined by 1.9% today, and the fact that that's not inflation adjusted, and that year over year inflation's up 7%, means that we saw an even bigger decrease in retail sales, right? Because they're just measuring the value of the goods sold, the value, right? And Buck Wild the Skunk says, everyone do your part, share BBIG, the stream, and search it. Let's pump the BBIG algorithm. That's what we're seeing, actually, on Google Trends. Let's pull this up. It looks like we are actually seeing that, right? So more people are searching for BBIG at 10 than we're at 9. And I wonder if we move this to YouTube search, we've seen a big drop off in BBIG. It looks like a lot of people were searching for BBIG at 5 a.m. on YouTube. But potentially we're on the way up again with this dashed line right here. Hopefully we'll see that. But it looks like not that many people are actually searching for BBIG stock on YouTube, unfortunately. I think that people definitely underutilize YouTube, if I'm being honest. When searching for information, I think that, whenever I need to figure out how to do something, whether it's, fixing a thing in the house or something on the car, whatever it is, just figuring out how to use a new appliance or something, YouTube's the go-to place. I think a lot of people are going to realize that over the next couple of years. I think the younger generation is realizing it already. It's pretty much just the go-to. You can find a video for anything, and I always feel like I've learned better when I'm watching and listening, as opposed to just reading some instruction book, right? Because you can actually see exactly what people are doing on the screen, and I think it just has a much more intuitive way of teaching people to do stuff. So overall, I think YouTube needs a little bit more search volume, right? Instead of the web searches, which can be useful and quick and whatnot, I think that the YouTube searches could certainly help out. So, we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with it. If we, maybe we'll end up pumping up the YouTube search results. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. So, and cryptos are still not looking too pretty, unfortunately. They're not looking too pretty. And look at this. Look at this. SDC up 22%. Look at that. Who'd have thought? Up to 255 today. It's seeing its own little pump up. Ha ha ha. Yeah, look at that. Up 21%. Good stuff. Up to 240. So we've been talking about this. So there we go. We might see it. And if we get to 260, that's potentially a good place to confirm that we might be rising more. Obviously, we've seen some of these pumps in the past, right? We've seen big green days. It's not a guarantee that we'll see them in the future, but I think $2 was just a little too cheap for SDC, potentially. A lot of people probably thought the same. Now we're down to 235, so we're fading quick. We're already up once again, 20%. But let's pull up the market cap on SDC and see what we've got. SDC. So we've got 53 votes in the poll. Feel free, guys, to let me know your opinion, what your favorite stock is at the moment in the poll down below. I am very curious what you guys think. So Smile Direct Club, $900 million market cap, $908 million. So bigger than BBIG. Bigger than BBIG for sure. But still up fairly significantly today. Look at that. Up 19%. Up more than BBIG was. Now, granted, it doesn't mean that it will continue to hold this, right? It's so far been a very brief upshoot in price. A lot of volume came in. We have been declining. And BBIG has had bigger days over the past 2 days, right? It's been up at its peaks at around 33, 34% from the close of the day prior at the peaks each day. It's been up a similar amount. So we haven't quite beaten that on SDC yet, but we got close, and this is potentially a new one that people are looking to transition into. So cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Hopefully we don't fall too much more, but we certainly could. We certainly could. It's still relatively cheap at these prices, and it's making me want a little bit. I was looking at it at 2. Now it's a bit higher, and there is some potential there. It's one that I wouldn't mind holding for a bit for the fundamentals, even if we don't get that kind of a short squeeze going on it. But we'll see. Maybe we'll just buy a little bit of SDC. Let's see, 500 shares. Maybe we'll buy. Nothing crazy. We'll just start off with 500. And how much will that be? That'll be $1,100. Easy. Yeah, we'll do it. There we go. All right, now we have made 5 cents on that trade. $5 on that trade. Scratch that. That's gonna buy lunch today. So, so good stuff. Good stuff. We're seeing some good moves with SDC. We might add to the position as if it continues climbing. If we get to 260, we might add some to SDC, but I'm happy to see that it has indeed pumped up. Obviously, maybe I wish I'd bought at 211 at this point, but when it was up to 211, there was no guarantee that it would move up. Obviously, there's still not a guarantee. In fact, it's moving down right now. So maybe it won't be buying lunch, but we'll see what happens with it, right? I'm still a fan of SDC over probably more of the mid to long term than just short squeeze play, but I would be happy to see some short-term profits on it. Certainly wouldn't be complaining about that. So we'll see what we get on it. If it does fall, I'll buy a little bit more, but I'll probably be buying more either way it goes. $5 lunch, I'm in. Yeah, that's it's definitely lunches and everything. We've seen inflation go up, and I have to say, I think inflation has gone up a lot more than 7% this year. The lunches have gotten pretty darn expensive, and so have dinners. Dinners have been horrible. It's been so much for dinners. The other day I paid 30-something bucks for dinner. Oh man, and we had a story that we did not cover this morning. I completely missed this tab that I had open. I meant to discuss it, but look at this. Look at this. A 10-year-old girl already owns 2 companies and could retire at 15 as a multi-millionaire. So Pixie Curtis may become the youngest person in the world to retire. She's the creator of Pixie's Fidgets, a toy company, and Pixie's Bows, a hair accessory company. So you heard it here first, guys. All you have to do is to retire at 15 is start 2 companies and then pull in over $140,000 in revenue the first month, and then retire at 15. It's easy. Look at this. She's doing it. So she has this hair tie company. It looks like she's holding one of the hair ties, and she's also holding, you guys have surely seen these little toys, these little fidget toys that you can click and poke the little dots in and out. They're interesting. I don't really have too much interest in them myself, but a lot of people seem to like them quite a bit. So despite still being in elementary school, an Australian girl is on her way to retiring as a millionaire at the tender age of 15. 10-year-old Pixie Curtis. So she's 10 years old and she's still planning on working 5 years. That shows you she's got a good work ethic. With the help of her mother, Pixie founded the toy company Pixie's Fidgets. It launched last year and the toys sold out in the first 48 hours. Pixie already has another business, Pixie's Bows, a hair accessory company that her mother set up when she was a baby. So it sounds like the mom is the real business tycoon behind all of this. And the mom says she can retire at 15 if she wants to. Our family joke has been, I'll be working till I'm 100 and Pixie will have retired at 15. I certainly know who's smarter. So the mom, it sounds like maybe just help the girl. I don't know. I have said it from day one. The moment Pixie doesn't want to be front-facing or be involved with Pixie's Picks and Pixie's Bows, then we will reassess. But for now, she is happy learning so much. Okay. So, sounds like maybe the girl isn't really behind all this. It might be the mom and just naming stuff after the girl. I don't know. But, an interesting story nevertheless. It sounds like she's at least, she's got some of the entrepreneurial spirit. So we'll see. Kitchener Leslie says some things that we won't say. But let's see what else we've got. DWAC is up today, so look at that. Where is DWAC? Here it is, up to close to $70. It looks like it's playing with $70. Hopefully we can get there. Now we've got some of the votes coming in. It looks like we've got 62 votes in this poll asking what the favorite is: Sundial, DWAC, BBIG, or AMC. And it looks like 35% say Sundial, 27% say DWAC, 26% say BBIG, and 11% say AMC. So Sundial is in the lead. Yeah, and Corn-Fed Country said, I'm in both Sundial and TLRY. These should have been running hard by now. I think so, but the markets, they can definitely get manipulated, pushed around a little bit. So, it's, I'll admit, not a pretty chart over the past year that we've seen in Sundial. But man, at any moment it could just pop. It could just pop. So we'll see what happens with it. The S&P's been looking worse than it does now. So all good for the S&P. It looks like we've slowly been rising. Seen a little bit of a slowdown over here, but where is that FinViz market map that we love? Here it is. So, okay. So look at this. The small caps get hurt again. The small caps and the banks especially are getting hurt. JP Morgan down 5%. We saw a little story about that this morning, but a lot of the smaller cap stocks are getting dunked on today. And they're being, the market's excuse me, the markets are being maintained by Apple, Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, Facebook. Amazon's a little gray. Tesla's kind of gray. And looks like the big tech is saving the day. The communications, the technology, consumer electronics, semiconductors, software applications. Those are the only green things that we've got. So looks like everything else is pretty much red. And then energy, oil and gas, is actually doing pretty darn good at the moment. So good stuff for oil and gas. Good stuff. James Wood says, MJNA is calling for buyers right now. We could see record lows, MJNA. MJNA trending. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, way under 2 cents, it looks like. Yeah, MJNA's gotten pretty cheap over the past couple of days. Although, yesterday it was up at, what, 2.2 cents at the highs? So, not bad. Not bad. And just a bit ago, it was up at 2.4 cents. So, we'll see what happens with it. Well, it has been cheaper. It has been cheaper. It's been down to around 1.7 cents. So we'll see what happens with MJNA. I'm bullish on it. I think we've got probably some good stuff, and we can get rid of NAKD on this list now because it does not exist. We'll add CENN. Let's see what happens with it. So looks like Centro's started moving down with potentially kind of following the markets, kind of predicting the markets in a way. It's moved down in a very similar way to how the markets have moved down, but just a little bit sooner. And BBIG is not looking pretty. BBIG is moving down. Down, down, down goes BBIG. That is too bad. Although following the 30-minute chart, that is kind of exactly what we had the past 2 days that it pumped. So, we'll see if it can do the same thing again. It did get more volume in the first 30 minutes of today than it did yesterday. So we'll see what happens with it. It's tough to say if it's going to do the exact same thing 3 days in a row. I kind of doubt it a little bit, but who knows? Who knows what it's going to do? It seems tough. It's a tough call. It's a tough call. I don't know. I think BBIG, we've probably seen the temporary highs for now. Obviously, it could run up more. It could go up more, but I think that yesterday was it had a fairly good chance of seeing some green, right? The second day of a pump can still yield some returns, but man, the third day is when it gets a little tough, right? That's the make or break moment, and if it did, it could get pretty high. It could, right? This is a make or break moment for BBIG. Looking at the yearly chart, this is when you're going to want to see it start to move up. Obviously, maybe it stagnates for a day or two and then moves up. But if it really tanks down in a big way, that's how you know it's pretty much over. So Jimmy Lee asks, are you still confident in Sundial? Oh, yes. I think Sundial has a lot of good stuff going for it. We've got the buyback still. The Alcana merger just went through. I mean, it just keeps getting better for Sundial fundamentally, right? And the stock price just gets crushed, of course. But, we're not making new lows. And we have been stagnating for a bit. So we're not making new lows. I don't think we're going to make new lows. I don't think below 50... Below $1 doesn't even make much sense for Sundial. I think there's a lot of potential, especially if we start to see more legalization talks. That's what's really going to hype this thing up. But, it is what it is. I'm not super worried about it over the long term. I think that inevitably we will see a Sundial pump up. That's just my opinion, though. I mean, we've seen it in the past when they've talked about legalization, and I think we'll see it again. It did get very hurt from the last big pump up. I'll admit it's been on the way down for a while, but I think that we've seen that come to an end, right? They do have a better balance sheet than most other companies out there, right? They've got a lot of cash, a lot of assets. They have a value that's just intrinsic to the company because of all those assets that they've got. So we'll see what happens with Sundial over the next couple of weeks. It hasn't been the great start to 2022 that we were hoping for, but it hasn't been the worst, right? We haven't made new lows on Sundial. We have just been stagnating, and that could be indicating that maybe we're towards the end of this whole downwards thing. So now it is 10:30, and it's looking like that's the end of the stream for today. Not the greenest day, I'll admit, right? I mean, Sundial is green. It's 2% green. AMC did hold $20 at least during the stream, so we'll see if it can hold it for the rest of the day. SPY, a little bit red on the day, but we saw some green action during the actual market open. And BBIG, it looks like, is unfortunately on the way down just a little bit. So we are down about 5% on BBIG. Not the best situation, but not the worst, right? It's continuing the pattern technically that we saw the past 2 days. We'll see if it really continues it, if it ends up spiking up later today. Today's probably a make or break point for BBIG. So other than that, guys, we are off for 3 days, right? There's no market on Monday. It's Martin Luther King Day. So the markets are closed, so we won't be here Monday. But I'll see you guys Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Probably release a video or something. Other than that, guys, have a great day. Have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next one. And I will read off the poll real quick, just so we got the votes that came in, right? So 73 votes in this poll. 34% say Sundial is their favorite. 29% say DWAC. 25% say BBIG, and 12% say AMC. So that's the results of the poll. Thank you guys for voting in it. Thank you guys for liking the stream, being here for the video, for the stream too. And I'll see you on Tuesday when we do have an exciting announcement, because I've been not doing the work that needs to be done to announce that today. But on Tuesday, we will have it. So see you guys then. Bye.